guys, welcome back to Empower In. So excited to have you with me today because today we're talking about the interview. So the interviews for nursing jobs are actually quite difficult, I think, and if you don't prepare, I don't think you'll get the job, honestly. But if you prepare even just a little bit, I think your chances of getting the job are so much higher. So what can you do to prepare for an interview? These are some of the things that I do, and I have to say that I have a really good record of getting hired for jobs, and I would love to share my secrets with you. So the first thing that I do, and I try to do this a week before the interview so that I am very prepared, is I go to Google and I search very difficult interview questions. And a lot of times you'll see a lot of open-ended questions. And there are questions like, tell me about yourself, or what do you know about our organization, or why do you want to work with us? So these questions, you really have to know what you're talking about, because if you go there and if they ask you that question, what do you know about our organization? And you're like, it's a hospital? You're not going to do that well. But if you just do a little bit of research ahead of time, you can really ace this. So, the question, tell me about myself, usually what I do is I prepare kind of like a little timeline, like a little snapshot of what I've been doing the last few years. Hopefully it involves like some volunteer work and also a little job or two that's relative to the job that I'm applying to. If it's not exactly applicable, like one time I worked as a waitress, I kind of tied that into, I love the service aspect of being a waitress. And I think that those skills will help me with nursing. And also the multitasking skills that waitresses have to do will help me as a nurse. So even if your job's not directly tied to the healthcare profession, try to find something about it that is. With the question, what do you know about our organization? I think it's a great idea to look at how it was founded. Why was the hospital started? Was there a big need? A lot of the times there's a really big story behind it. Like maybe somebody who had some wealthy family had a child who got sick and died. A lot of hospitals started for really good causes. And if you just do a little bit of research, you can find that information. It's pretty easy to find on Google. Also, another thing that I like to look at is the mission statement. And I like to kind of say something about that, because a lot of people are really excited about the mission statements, and usually they're really beautiful. Oh, and why do you want to work with us is another good question. I mean, the obvious answer is if you're a new graduate, you probably just want to work with anyone, right? But you can't really say that. So you can say things like, and hopefully it's true, if not, you can kind of stretch the truth a little bit, but maybe you can say things like, I've heard a lot from word of mouth, honestly. I've heard a lot of nurses and nursing assistants just very happy with the way that the communication is in this organization, and, just say that you want to be part of a team that, listens to each other and communicates and stuff like that. So things like that are usually really good to say. So a lot of times I've been asked questions that kind of see how I deal with bad, hard situations. I think every interview I've been on, I've been asked the question, how do you handle a customer that's upset? So just think about the easiest or the best thing that I think I can give you, or the best advice I think I can give you, is to think about a situation and visualize that situation and talk about it as you're seeing it. You know what I mean? So like, for example, I usually say something like, one time I had a customer that was really upset. I realized after she was speaking that she was actually really upset at me because of something that I had said. Once I listened to her, and I like to use the word once I listened because that insinuates that I'm a good listener, then I realized that I had just heard her wrong, and I apologized profusely, and I just, kind of handled the situation right there, which is good because you don't want to jump to the manager or to jump to the nursing supervisor. You want to handle problems. You want to show that you can handle problems yourself. Obviously, you can't handle all the problems yourself, but you want to show that you will take responsibility for your actions. The other thing that I've been asked a lot especially since I've had experience as a nurse, is have you ever had conflicts with other nurses and nursing assistants? The wrong thing to say is no, never. I mean, I don't think anybody would say that. I mean, there's conflicts that arise all the time. So what I usually say is, yes, I've had conflicts, but ultimately I push my emotions aside and I just ask myself, is it possible that I approached this the wrong way? Is it possible that the tone of my voice or maybe my body posture was that, did I come across and did I attract the situation? So then what I usually do is I usually just say, okay, ultimately we are here to take care of our patient, and then I will try to have another interaction later without showing any emotion and just showing that I've kind of forgotten about the situation. And then later, if the situation does need it, I will say, listen, I'm really sorry, that was my fault, and I'm very sorry for approaching you that way, and I'm really sorry if that hurt you in any way. So that's kind of how I do it. There's another tip that I want you to be aware of. You may have multiple people in the room. So a lot of times when we're like visualizing what our interview experience is going to be like, we're thinking about us with one person across the desk. But nowadays, interviews are taking place with a lot of people behind the desk. So minimum, usually you see 2. So if you're prepared for that, it'll just make you feel a little bit better. Okay, so the other thing is, what I usually do is I'm never too much in a rush to answer the questions. So when they ask me a question, I usually take a deep breath in. I don't make it obvious. I'm not like, if they ask me a question, I'm like, I don't do it like that. Like what I usually do is like, take a deep breath in, kind of like shuffle in my chair, look up, kind of visualize what I'm going to say, and then say it. And then I'm usually a lot more organized in my language and sentences, and it comes across much better. Okay, so another question that I've gotten a lot is, they'll say point blank, we have a lot of people interviewing for this job. Why should we choose you? My response is usually a variation of this, but I usually say is, listen, if you're talking about hiring me over somebody else, I really can't tell you that. All I can tell you is, the nurse that you see right here, right now, is not the nurse that you're going to have 6 months from now. I am committed to continually improving. I am the type of person who wants to learn from every situation and wants to be the best that I can. So to be honest with you, I don't know who the other people are that I'm interviewing against, and I can't tell you that I'm better than them or that they're better than me or anything. I can just tell you that I am committed to being the best that I can be. And if you hire me, I'll make sure you're happy that you did. So the things that I personally avoid are questions like, what's the nurse-to-patient ratio? Or do you guys have nursing assistants? Or do you always get a lunch break? Things like that. Okay, I know that this is a subjective topic, and I might raise a lot of people saying that these are valid questions. I don't disagree with you. They are valid questions. But at the same time, nursing is hard work. And when you're a director and you're interviewing a lot of people, and some people seem really excited about working and not minding working hard, and they, and then you have other people that are kind of sitting back like, well, what's the nurse-to-patient ratio? How do you make sure you get that? Do you have nursing assistants? Like, these are questions that obviously are important. I'm not saying that they're not, but they are kind of insinuating that you have an expectation, and if that expectation on that job is not met, you're going to be upset. And the easier you are to upset, the more work you're going to do later for that director that's interviewing you. So my personal opinion is that I stay away from these questions, and I just go with the belief that people are doing the best they can, with everything that they have. So it just helps me do a better job myself and just to focus on my work. The other thing is this. You need to go into the interview prepared enough to say, I'm worth $50,000 right now. the reason for this is when I started training new graduates, I went through a training that was specifically designed to help me train new graduates. What I learned is the tremendous undertaking that a hospital does to train a new graduate nurse. It is very expensive, it's a lot of work, and I think a lot of people don't think about it like that. But think about it like this. Okay, so your training is usually about 3 to 4 months, hopefully 4 months, because I think you really need that 4th month. But you will be assigned to a nurse. So basically there's 2 people working for the price of 1. Not only that, you are given, there's multiple classes that are prepared just for new graduates. A lot of times they have like a new nurse residency program. So a lot of work goes into training new graduate nurses. And a lot of nurses get upset because they have to sign contracts. But you have to understand it's very expensive to train a new graduate nurse. And in the past, a lot of new graduates would go through the training and then just leave after 6 months, leaving that unit and that hospital like $50,000 in the hole, having to start all over. So me personally, I actually didn't have to sign a contract, but I did work at the hospital for over 2 years. I think it was actually almost 3 years. And, you know, I think it was the best thing. And I don't know, so just go in there with that attitude, like, I know I'm asking for a lot, but I'm worth it. And I've done a lot of research, and I'm willing to work really hard, and you'll be happy you're hiring me. So I can honestly say that I've truly been blessed to be in this situation where I've been hired for almost every single nursing job that I've interviewed for. And I honestly have usually had 2 to 3 job offers that I've been able to choose. And I think it's due to the way I close things. And I usually close things like this. You just say, I really thank you for this opportunity. I know that this is time out of your day, and I'm so thankful that you spent it with me. Thank you for your consideration. And I just want to say, if you choose me, really, I'm a hard worker, I'm really good at communication, and I'll make you happy that you made that decision. So I usually close with something like that. Okay, so the last thing that I want to mention, give me 1 second, is I finished my 2nd book, and this is specifically for new graduates. I'm so excited for you guys. In this book, I go over a lot of things such as how to get your first interview. I go in more length about what the interview process is like, a lot more tips in here than I can mention on the video. Also, I go through things like how do you prepare for your first nursing job, what do you carry with you, how do you dress, how do you, wear your makeup, how do you, do a lot of things. I go over a lot of mistakes that I've made, so hopefully you won't make the same mistakes as me, because mistakes are really hard to deal with. What else is in here? Let me just look. I'm so excited about this book. When to look at labs, what to ask for a report, how to manage high nurse-to-patient ratios, how to handle constant new responsibilities. Guys, if you just look below, you can see the link to it. It's on Amazon. It's only $12, but I really poured my heart and soul into it, and I really hope that you find it to be a tool that just inspires you and guides you and just helps you through this process that honestly is pretty hard, but it can be very beautiful at the same time. So, with that said, I love you guys, and thank you so much for joining me again. I'm Caroline Porter Thomas, and I will see you again soon. Bye!